And welcome in. Happy Saturday to you. PlayStation tournaments continue to roll on this year, and this time we have NBA 2K21. Scott Cole with you, along with Nate Patrick. And we got a mirror of the NBA Finals, Bucks and Suns. And of course, we're going to start it off with the European Grand Finals. We got a good one, Nate.
We can't wait. We've been following the tournament as it goes along. We're at this final stage where things become a best of three and your champion will be announced.
Yeah, I thought we were going to have an all-Spain final. No, sir. It's going to be Russia versus France. Steph Kerr taking on Henny. Should be a good one. As you can see, here is the format. We are in the grand finals. It is going to be a best of three. Steph Kerr will be the Milwaukee Bucks. And Henny will be the Phoenix Suns. And of course, they've been rocking through this top eight. So many players signed up out there on these PlayStation tournaments, but we got down to 8 today, and now we're down to a final 2, and they are playing for a very good prize today. I'm talking about a PlayStation 5. Tons of store credit. So not only, Nate, do you get a new PlayStation 5, but you got a ton of store credit to load it up with games.
And that's what it's all about. I'm sure plenty of you watching along have had a look and you're now saying to yourself, why didn't I enter? Why am I not involved? Well, sorry, a bit late when it comes to NBA 2K21. However, for these competitors, that's a handy prize indeed.
Well, yeah, if you're having a little regret that you didn't sign up, well, you can sign up for a ton of tournaments that they're having out here on PlayStation. Compete.playstation.com. I'm talking from Mortal Kombat down to FIFA, everything in between on PlayStation 4 and 5. So a ton of great competitions going on. You can certainly head out there and register and sign up just like these players did. And I tell you what, I'm kind of looking forward to this. Steph Kerr has played really, really well in this tournament. In fact, he has not been beaten up to this point. He has actually just kind of swept through the competition. And it's going to be interesting for him today. As you can see, just 18 years old from Russia. Hey, go out there and follow him on social media. Why not? Because he could be your next big champion in the grand finals. And, hey, he's going to get to control Giannis. That's the good sign here for Steph Kerr.
Have a look at that. 14-0. Are you kidding me? Gets to use the Bucks, gets to use Giannis. He is actually a Russian national team coach. The 18-year-old from Russia absolutely loves his NBA 2K. And dare I say, Scott, is the favorite heading into this clash.
Of course, Henny was a representative in Paris last year in the global grand final right there in Paris. And a lot of people know the name Henny 2K. He's just 18-year-old as well. He does have some blemishes on his record, but I think those Suns, going through the Western Conference, we saw a lot of teams really kind of struggled to make their way to the finals, and maybe the Western side was a little bit tougher, and they got a very tough matchup facing the Bucks, and how you're going to handle Giannis is certainly a big thing that is on Henny's mind.
100%. And of course, I know a lot of you watching along, you want to talk about the actual NBA. We're going to be focusing on NBA 2K21 today. What that means for the competitors in game, how the players play in game. Obviously, there's a bit of a flow-on effect, but to a large extent, leave those preconceptions at the door. Don't worry about what that series is going on. We're going to focus on these two individuals.
I know, in IRL, I'd probably give a little bit of nudge to the Phoenix Suns right now. But today, I think it's going to be really tough to beat the Bucks. But you never know. Certainly, when you're talking about the Suns, they're very versatile as well. So it's going to be interesting, and us not seeing a ton of these guys play, to have the opportunity to see how they take these regular teams, the teams that you load up. It's the playoff rosters that they're going to be using. How do they take these teams and build a scheme, build a game plan around it?
Yeah, no, a lot of our talk beforehand had been, how deep do you go into your roster? That's probably your point I've stolen from you, Scott, but it is a very good one. A lot of competitors will say this is my 5. Stamina notwithstanding, I'm going to stick with that. That's what I'm doing throughout the entire thing. Other competitors, and dare I say, maybe more for those using Phoenix, might have to go deeper into the roster if things aren't going well.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think we bring up Giannis a lot because where is he going to be playing on the floor? He could be a 3, he could be a 4, he could be at the center, at the 5. That might be a difference of who you're going to match up against him. Do you try to, go into your game plan, go into your scheme to get Jay Crowder to maybe go up against him, or do you like a DeAndre Ayton to stay in front of him? I don't like that matchup along the perimeter. As we're getting ready to go, you can see the starting lineups already. For Henny, he's going to put Chris Paul, Booker, Bridges, Crowder, and Ayton. So that's really the true starting 5. And on the other side for Steph Curry, he's got Holiday, DiVincenzo, Middleton. He puts Giannis at the power forward, and it's going to be Brook Lopez. Lopez could be an X factor in this one, Nate, because he's a stretch 5. I mean, he can really provide a lot of spacing on the floor.
And with that tension on Giannis as well, who of course will be driving inside, don't expect, maybe a bit like we've seen from Giannis recently, him pulling up from the 3-point line. It will leave Lopez free on the perimeter, and if you've got that jump shot timing down, you could get a lot of green threes.
Well, we're already getting some early changes. I like it. I mentioned we almost had an all-Spain final, but Steph Curry beat Pablo in the semifinals, and then Henny able to beat Vardo, and Vardo was kind of a favorite on that lower side of the bracket. So a tip of the cap to Henny, who's certainly a powerhouse coming from France. So France versus Russia here in the European Grand Finals. We have the North American Finals coming after this best of 3, and that's going to be USA taking on Canada. So we had no all-country finals, which I thought was very intriguing, Nate.
And obviously, as I'm sure you're aware, Scott, you'd be all about it in the 2K League. We're seeing the international players coming through, and Spain is an incredibly strong region when it comes to NBA 2K. They must be a little heartbroken. In fact, I've seen a comment or two in the chat already saying, where are they? Unfortunately, Spaniards, it's not your time. Maybe you can pick a favorite team or competitor here in this grand final.
Well, let's tip it off. It's going to be Milwaukee. You'll start off with it first. That's Henny, and already an early timeout. Are we getting some gamesmanship here early?
You're going to see it when it comes to settings and little tweaks and that type of thing. People, competitors will have it set up the way they want, and yet you go into the menu, whether you want to particularly put some player instructions on, maybe pay some close attention to your opponents. There's only so much you can get done beforehand. It's pretty customary. Alongside, in fact, Dirk, and shout out Dirk if you're watching or if you have heard.
He's not awake yet. He cannot be awake
I'm sure
yet.
He's not, but I had to do it anyway. Help my boy out. Last year, we were here in a very similar circumstance. The early pause, particularly with competitors using the Bucks, ready for that Giannis ISO ball. We had a game, and I kid you not, Scott, where Giannis scored all but 4 points of one of these games. It would not surprise me if Steph is looking to set up in a very similar fashion.
And we talked about it off the rip. How are you going to handle Giannis is going to be not only a theme here in Game 1, but throughout the day. And Steph Curry is like, all right, man, I'm going to make some changes myself here. And I don't know, do you put Crowder on him? I don't think, even though Ayton is versatile, he's not as versatile as the Greek Freak. And so we're getting Game 1, getting ready to go here in the Grand Finals. Of course, Nate is in Australia. I am in North America, Dallas, Texas, to be exact. And so, hey, we got the global kind of Grand Finals coming your way here today.
It is so much a global game, of course, as you mentioned. Australia, Europe, North America, we all love to ball. We all love our NBA 2K. And I dare say, if you don't like Giannis ISO ball from what we're seeing, you might not want to continue watching. It is what's happened in the past. I'm sure it is what will happen again. We'll see. You mentioned, Scott, how do you stop it? Who are you going to put on him? A lot of the time, to be quite honest, it's multiple defenders. You're going to have to collapse. You're going to need to leave those corners free and hope that you can close out nice and quickly.
Well, I think you'll see some players just allow the ISO to happen, right? Allow the 2, because the problem is you start dropping guys down into the paint. You start playing help defense on Giannis. Next thing you know, you got Brook Lopez out there. You got Middleton, who's certainly a sharpshooter. DiVincenzo can knock it down. So you got to be a little leery. And you can see here's the matchups right here. And so it will be DeAndre Ayton off the rip trying to stay in front of Giannis. It's going to be interesting as we get play underway. Those are not your commentators. Scott Cole, Nate Patrick along with you here on a beautiful Saturday, wherever you might be. Thanks for making these PlayStation tournaments a part of your day. Just 10 seconds into this one. Of course, representing France, that's Henny. He's going to be controlling the Phoenix Suns. And they knock down early three. And I think that's going to be the key for Phoenix in this one, is have the ability to knock down as many shots from the perimeter you can.
You see there, another turnover. Phoenix will capitalize. That is Giannis getting the ball twice. That is 2 turnovers from the Greek Freak. And that close attention working a treat early.
And I think, some of the changes you're going to have to see from Henny is he's going to have someone bring the ball up and then get it to Giannis at the top of the key. And there is that ISO. Because I don't like trying to bring Giannis 94 feet, right? You have a lot of chances at mistakes. And you can already see jumping in here and setting up his matchups. He doesn't like the way he had the auto set up. This is Henny getting in there and setting his defensive adjustments, Nate.
Some quick changes because even with the double on Giannis, he simply rolls inside and jams it home. But Scott, you called it well early. Phoenix looking for 3 balls where possible. And then it's going to leave space in the paint. Jam it down. Take your 2s where you can.
Well, they talk about that even in the NBA Finals that's going on right now. And certainly this tournament's mirroring that as you get a 3 from straight away. Brings us to a 2-point game. Is how do you contain the pick and roll between Ayton and Chris Paul? Because if you drop off, Chris Paul might hit a 3, and if you play too high, too tight, there's Andre Ayton is certainly going to be there for the lob. And boy, look at this matchup down low, and Chris Middleton decides just to, wrap him up.
It's a smart foul. Don't let him go up for the shot, or before he can even do so, just take your foul. Maybe go again.
Here's Henny. Controlling these Suns. It is a best of 3. This is the opening game over here in Europe. It's the European Grand Finals, PlayStation 5, and a little bit of store credit on the line. Of course, you can head out to compete.playstation.com if you want to sign up for these tournaments. I'm telling you, everything from Mortal Kombat to FIFA, everything in between on both PlayStation 4 and the brand new PlayStation 5. I'm telling you, I have rarely turned off my PlayStation 5 since it arrived at my front door.
I said as soon as I got it, I put it in my car and put the seatbelt around it like a small child. That it's honestly helped me to fall in love with gaming again. We're both getting on just a little bit, Scott. It's put me back into when I was a child gaming for the first time. An absolute machine in every sense of the word.
I got to find out. We got some good folks out in the chat here today on a Saturday. Who you got in this one? You got Suns or Bucks? And right now, it's all about who can impose their will. And right now, it's Henny, the man from France, has put his team up 13-7 here early. And I say the Yano ISO ball has not been successful so far.
Not yet. I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. But you're quite right. The early double, still going for it. Giannis will sometimes make those, if not, get the putback. At least the O board, but then the outlet pass to the 3-point. It's not going anywhere. I'm not sure if that was meant to happen. Maybe a bit of
I think he
button
might have been
mashing.
spamming for intentional foul. He ends up getting the steal and the timeout. So 13-7, 1:57 to go. 5-minute quarters, best of 3. Scott Cole along with Nate Patrick. Fine folks at PlayStation. We got an amazing broadcast crew and production staff. Gonna be bringing you some, high level NBA 2K21. And Giannis is not going to take it from out there, but he will take it from down there.
73 for his 3-point shot in NBA 2K21 with these rosters. And the jump shot that is not easy to time. You can understand why Step will turn those down almost every time.
Of course, a lot of people already talking about NBA 2K22 just around the corner. I actually found out who the cover athletes are.
No way.
And I am going to, I'm going to keep that to myself. But I'm excited about NBA 2K22 as much as the next one is. What a great tournament to kind of wind out the incredible season we've had at NBA 2K21. DiVincenzo, the man from Villanova, knocks in a triple, and we got a 3-point game.
Your first green beam of the day. I was going to say morning, maybe it's the evening where you are watching, I'm sure, from all around the world. You get those jumper timings down, it will make all the difference, contested or not.
And there is DeAndre Ayton, the former number 1 pick, already with 8 points. Oh, boy, we got a loose ball. A little bit of a struggle fest as they try to move into the forecourt, and we'll have a whistle. That'll be on Jay Crowder. And I hadn't seen a lot of these matchups between these two competitors. It's kind of our first look at it. But I had a theory that Jay Crowder was going to somehow be a big part of the defensive stance for these Phoenix Suns. As there's another triple coming in. We got a 2-point game now.
Really good effort from Step to bring it back. We said best of 3, but even within these individual contests, plenty of time to strategize. Unfortunately, plenty of time to give the ball away cheaply from the inbound. Those little moments could be costly.
So 19-15, 4-point game. It was a hot start here for Henny, the man from France. But our guy from the Russian Federation, Steph Kerr, who I love that name. Obviously a huge Steph Curry Warriors fan, to throw a little Steve Kerr love on the end of that. And here is Henny. Gets it up to DeAndre Ayton. He's going to go up against Giannis down in the paint. Working down low. Couple pump fakes. Gets his own rebound, and wow. And he's already got his badge. It's that glass cleaner badge coming in for DeAndre Ayton. And that's what I would do if I'm Chris Paul. He just held the charge button, and he still gets dunked on here in the final seconds. Crowder, you ain't got time for that. As the first quarter comes to an end. Good scoring quarter, though. 21-17 here off the first rip.
Maybe not what our fans, our viewers in the Twitch chat are here for necessarily, but I really enjoyed the early fouling. Use them up. I'm sure there's a lot of coaches from any level. I know mine did back in the day as a child. It's okay to foul. There are good times to do so, and in fact, it can help you on the defensive end. The question is, will you be disciplined all the way through, particularly in those final few minutes?
See Giannis getting ahead of steam there as we open the second quarter. Just a 4-point game. I mean, Henny's only missed 2 shots. And one of them was down low with Ayton, and the other one was a errant 3-pointer. And now it's DeAndre Ayton. He's got his badge. It's a glass cleaner, but that doesn't mean that the rest of his attributes don't get a boost. And who would think? DeAndre Ayton, Nate, already with 10 points.
Definitely did not see that coming. Not the matchup that you necessarily want, but to his credit, and he no doubt has been practicing for this very moment. With the one miss that you mentioned from Ayton, he got that back anyway. He got his own board and then put it back. It didn't even matter. He's certainly doing very well, is Henny, with that little matchup against Step.
Shout out to those watching out on PlayStation's Twitch and YouTube. 6-point game right now. And a good foul there by DiVincenzo. That'll stop the break. 3:38 to go here in this first half. Game 1 of a best of 3. European Grand Finals. We got North America coming around the bend. We will crown 2 champions today. And that's in and out. And DeAndre Ayton is like a man smoking at a gas station. He's blowing up down low. Down to Giannis, trying to respond. DiVincenzo from the corner, and you can't give great shooters the corner threes in NBA 2K21. It's like a free throw.
It's exactly what we were talking about. All the attention on Giannis means there will be players free, particularly in those corners when the help comes across. And if you've got your jump shot timing down, it's free points.
Seeing some of our first substitutes, Bobby Portis get an opportunity to come in and make an impact. He's had a good season for the Bucks this year. And it's a long rebound. This game's starting to get away from Steph Curry here. The lead has been pushed up to 7 now. There's Christopher Paul, former Wake Forest Demon Deacon, gives it off to DeAndre Ayton. Walk it back for a moment. Giannis was having none of that. Booker. Haven't seen really him make an impact, but he'll use the window there.
Do like seeing the smalls get inside as well for the Suns. Paul, Booker, you can source them on that three-point line, draw them out, and take your easy two inside. Even easier to do so if you're Antetokounmpo.
Giannis has not been a problem so far. He does have 10 points, but hey, DeAndre Ayton's got more points than that. You know what I'm saying? In the matchup between Giannis and Ayton, Ayton's winning so far, even though Chris Paul leads all scorers with 14.
Again, you got to watch the stamina as we go on. You can keep doing it, and sure, Giannis is probably good to get away with it a lot of the time. He draws the attention, leaves the man wide open in the corner, and even though it's not perfectly timed, it is good enough for three.
DiVincenzo called a few of his games IRL back in Villanova, and of course with the Wisconsin Herd, before he made his way up to the Milwaukee Bucks. And I think he's going to need more of that. If they want to double team Giannis, he's going to have to find the open three-point shooter, whether it's Drew Holiday, DiVincenzo. We also haven't seen him even get Chris Middleton involved at all. Here's Middleton with it now. Coming up on a minute to go. Passes out of the three there by Holiday. Shot clock running down. Goes to the corner. It's Giannis driving out of there. Nice drop step.
Not perfectly timed. 40% coverage on there. And it still goes. That is the strength of the man inside.
Big time rebound. Giannis drops it off to Portis. Back to Giannis. And he goes in with a left-hand jam. Now he's got his badge, and that could spell trouble. Unfortunately, it took him this long, Nate, to get that badge.
Yeah, some would argue that Giannis without takeover is deadly enough. You get him finishing inside, getting all those attribute boosts. It feels like, I'm sure, there's nothing you can do to stop him. We'll see if he goes all the way here. You might not even see a pass out from this attack. Giannis does dish, draws the attention, and that will drop again.
Dropping in the three. We got a 1-point game, 2 seconds left in the half. Will they get a shot off? Yes, no. It's in and out, and we get the halftime. Here in game 1 of this best of 3 here in the European Grand Finals and our PlayStation tournament. And I tell you what a way to battle back by Steph Curry, Nate.
Love to see it. You get Giannis on flames, and it will, of course, boost you with that man. He's got 14, 7 of 8. But we called it at the top. It feels good when you get it right, doesn't it, Scott? There will be players free on the perimeter, and maybe even DiVincenzo, who I believe is 3-point shots 81 overall, around that number for sure. It's not the highest you'll see in this game, and yet it will be enough if he's left wide open.
Like Chris Paul, now 10 of 10, draws the and one, and he'll head to the stripe. For Henny, Chris Paul's been awfully impressive. He's mixed in a little bit of DeAndre Ayton. Haven't seen a lot of Booker out of him. And the lead's now 4. Giannis, right to the rim. $14 points now for Giannis to go along with those 5 assists. It's pretty much a walking triple-double in NBA 2K21. Ayton, too far out. Chris Paul still hasn't missed. Timeout, Bucks. I like that Henne kind of went to like the throwback Phoenix uniforms. They hadn't been to the NBA Finals in over 30 years. That was the Charles Barkley era. And of course, for Milwaukee, they haven't been in the finals since 1974. They had a young rookie by the name of Lou Alcindor to go along with Oscar Robertson. Of course, Lou Alcindor would become Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
An absolute legend indeed. I'm sure a few watching may be hoping for some throwbacks, but of course we're using the current rosters in this competition. It really has that finals vibe.
And that's going to be a legal defense, so that'll send Giannis to the line to shoot the technical. And I'm not sure why you want Giannis to go to the line and shoot your free throws, but that's what he's got going on.
No 10-second count required.
Yeah, I wondered if he would take his time at the stripe. 5-point game, make it 3. Giannis has got 20 now, and he is dangerous out of that corner. And there's a turnover. Nope, it's going to be picked back up by Henne. Thought Giannis had poked it away for a moment. Chris Paul with a badge will just scoop it in. He's still yet to miss. He's been perfect so far. 26 points for Chris Paul.
Probably not giving him enough credit, are we? Indeed, the competitor in Henne and Chris Paul himself. 89 overall, lethal from mid-range. I'm sure you've seen that enough, Bucks fans, but in NBA 2K that won't change. 97 if he can get space just inside the perimeter. Does not miss from the line when he goes inside, and of course he is a playmaker extraordinaire. 90 pass accuracy, 90 ball handle. It is hard to get it off the vet.
Of course, if you're watching this tournament and you're like, man, I wish I could have got involved in this, you can do by going out to compete.playstation.com. I'm talking a myriad cornucopia of games. From what you're watching, NBA 2K21, Tekken, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, you name it. Well, I might sign up for the FIFA tournament. Might see what I can get going there on PlayStation 5. There's Henne again. He's got a 3-point lead. Out to Booker, who's been rarely used in this game, and he's able to drop it in. (49-44). Here's Giannis, the freak, with another jam. There's some changes being made here. You can see it was a hot start for Henne. Steph Curry able to battle back there in that second quarter. Just made it a 1-point game at the half. And it's been a tight one. We weren't sure what kind of gameplay we would have. Certainly both these competitors, Nate, showing you why they're in the grand finals.
Yeah, and I just wonder if Steph's big tournament, big game experience will really help him in the clutch. Again, he's yet to lose, don't forget that. But overall, of course, he's been there in the FIBA Open, winning a gold medal for his native Russia. Certainly has what it takes at the business end of high-stakes tournaments.
Of course, Henne on the other side, he is a part of the grand finals in Paris, France a year ago in NBA 2K20. And we got a 5-point game. Chris Paul has not missed. He's got 28 points. And here's Giannis. They're going to make him back it all the way back out. And they're just going to give him the 2.
Yeah, you get those 2 players on the perimeter to switch. The defender's not sure who to go to, and you end up covering for the 3. Let that 2 occur. You don't want to let Giannis rack up too many easy points, or indeed assists and boards help him to get his takeover when he is simply unstoppable.
Well, the Suns are going to call timeout. Henny wants to talk it over. The man from France is up 3 over Steph Curry from Russia. And I don't like the looks of this. I think we might have had a situation there on Steph Curry's side. So we'll let them load back in, get ready to go. But and overall, it's been a great 2.5 quarters so far. Really a thin line in that separation. You can go back and look at Henny's hot start there in that first quarter. It's really been the difference so far.
Fantastic to see. We always like a bit of narrative, a bit of story, a favorite, an underdog. When it comes down to it, they're just notes. That's just what we've got down on paper in a best of 3 series. Anything can and apparently will happen when you have these tournaments online. It's fantastic that we have them. It's something we see in every esport, every game. It's something these competitors and us as commentators are well used to. Sometimes as well, it can really give you that mental break. You can just get out of your own head for a moment and maybe do some assessment on the fly that you wouldn't get that time otherwise when we were talking during rehearsal about competitors and would they be ready to go? Are they going to be watching replays? Are they going to be making changes, tactical changes? Well, at the start of games, yes, but more often than not, you're skipping through quarter time, half time, and the rest of it. You're getting into your groove and you're letting all those hours of practice come to fruition.
Yeah, and here's some of the highlights that we've seen so far, Nate. A lot of three-point shooting on both sides.
Yeah, and it all comes about from those easy points in the paint. You hate to concede them, quite frankly. You know it's going to happen. You try and be patient, try and be considered. And even when you do defend it well, as we saw it there, you still might get scored on. It really starts to grind you down. You get frustrated. You start to collapse. And what about Chris Paul? You might have considered him scoring more outside than inside, but he's got those dribble moves nice and saucy, even at his ripe old age, getting inside. And did he miss in the end, CP3?
Well, we just received word from our folks on the admin side letting us know that it was actually a disconnect by Henny. So game 1 is going to go to the Milwaukee Bucks and the Russian Steph Curry. And I'll tell you what, I was just about to bring it up before we got that result, but how important it is in these best of 3s to take that first game. That takes a lot of pressure off Steph Curry, who's going to be up a game here in the series.
100%. Again, considering it has been best of 1 up until this stage, you get that one in the bag. You're feeling on top of the world, unstoppable. However, true champions, yes, in the NBA and yes, here in NBA 2K, come back. You know, through adversity, the trials can actually make you stronger. I said just a moment ago, you get that time to consider your tactics, your changes, and maybe throw something a little different in game 2.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was interesting. I thought it took a while for Steph Curry to really get Giannis involved. He tried to bring the ball up full court. Quickly find out that was not going to work against Phoenix and their full court pressure. Able to work around it, able to battle through that tough start for the first 2 minutes or so, able to make it a 21-17 differential there at the end of the first, battle back to a 1-point differential, and then even coming back to getting the win here in this opening game. And if you're Henny, you got to be a little bit disappointed because at this point, you had the lead before you had a disconnection. So now you got to kind of regroup yourself and be prepared to try to win 2 in a row to secure the bag, to secure that brand new PlayStation 5 and a whole lot of store credit from the fine folks at PlayStation.
I guess the positive thing is we've seen plenty from Henny to know that he can compete. It's funny, we talk about these kids, they're 18. They might not have had enough big game experience. We alluded to some of the big moments they've had so far. They're still young. It is moments like this that proves your character, shows you who you really are. And again, if you're Henny, you can be chill. I know that must be frustrating with the disconnection, but think about what you did well. Have a look at Chris Paul on offense, dead set, unguardable, did not miss. On defense, particularly at the start of game one, 2 turnovers from Giannis. Even inside that Ayton matchup was working a treat. It might not always continue, but those are the key little things you can take, put in your pocket, and have them there in your kit bag, so to speak, as you look towards games 2 and 3.
Yeah, of course, if you folks out there want to get involved, there's some amazing chances out there at compete.playstation.com as we get ready for game number 2 in this best of 3. I'll be honest, when the next break we get, I also saw they got MLB The Show out there. Of course, FIFA 21, I'm a big fan of that. Everybody knows that. And, of course, I make my home here at NBA 2K21 in the NBA 2K League. I wonder if there's going to be any changes here. Certainly, we're going to see a plethora of them. Once they get in game, they pause, try to set everything back up. One thing we didn't see was any sort of use of Brook Lopez. He had immediately, I guess, is too slow to try to stay up with this Phoenix roster.
Yeah, and I think defensively as well, just going to get sourced, quite simply. If you can keep him inside, it will work to your advantage. But on the perimeter at this level, with the quality of these competitors, I think it's fair to say it's not your plan A. We talked about it at the start of game 1, didn't we, Scott? It could be useful to have that 3-point advantage, that sort of set the screen and then pop for the 3 big men in Lopez. Clearly, it's not the plan A. It's not the go-to, at least.
Yeah, we didn't see him at all. We saw a lot of DiVincenzo knock down a lot of shots. Really, Chris Middleton, and maybe that was due to some of the defense adjustments that Henne had made. He was not going to allow Chris Middleton to have any sort of separation out on the perimeter. So I don't even really remember Middleton even putting up a shot.
Yeah, a bit strange that Chris and then, of course, Booker barely had a thing to do. They were just standing there, not quite in the corner, not quite at the top of the perimeter, wondering offensively and defensively, what am I doing here? What have you got me in the game for, coach? I've got nothing to do. To the competitors' credit, if you've got Giannis hot, if you've got CP3 hot, you keep running that play. You keep getting your go-to on the ball. You get them their takeover, and you take full advantage.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I really thought the difference makers were certainly, we already knew Giannis was going to be one, but then on the other side, as they begin to load in, Chris Paul, at the point of disconnect, he had not missed a shot. He had 28 points. He made every shot. He was working on a double-double. Giannis was, in fact, working on a triple-double. So I think those are going to be the 2 featured players that we certainly have to keep an eye on here the rest of the way. And this is a big game, too, for Henne. All of a sudden, you're down a game, Nate. And you mentioned the single elimination leading up to the top 8 today. And, of course, the record stands true. Steph Curry is still yet to lose in the tournament. He's now 15-0.
You'll take those wins any way you can get them. But I guess for Henne, as you say, Chris Paul was the go-to in game 1. You take what you've gotten from there. We've already spoken about it. And you go again in game 2. Again, I maybe thought you try and source your opponent, get that one-on-one happening, step back, separation, and hit the 3. It is only an 83 3-point shot for CP3. It should be good enough if you've really practiced and you've got that timing down. But then, 97 close shot. We saw the handles, the 90 handle from Chris Paul going inside, laying it up. It's like an 80 layup again, roughly around that number. Quite simply, Chris Paul, even with a bit of contest, will not miss if you get that early separation.
Well, here we go. Game number 2. Steph Curry and the Bucks already up a game. And they might try to close this thing out. He's had nothing but sweeps so far throughout the tournament. And we got certainly plenty of time right now, Nate, to talk about these adjustments. Suns have looked dominant. I thought certainly in that game 1 that Henne got a lot of production out of DeAndre Ayton.
It surprised me. I'll happily put it out there. As much as we try and analyze and predict what we think will happen, anything can and will happen. Aiton only 85 overall. Does not have a single thing you would say that is an advantage over Giannis. 85 rebounding, which is 82 on the offensive end, and yet those O boards kept coming. Even when Aiton would miss, he'd simply just grab it back. Maybe that's just due to the missed time. Rebound from Steph. It can be that simple. Mechanics not practiced well enough. It doesn't matter how good your players are. It's all about the competitors behind the controller.
See, making all the adjustments. You don't want the AI to do anything you don't want to do and give up a three-point shot. Now, Bobby Portis is going to get the start. And of course, a lot of people in the chat is like, wow, you get a timeout 1 second to the match? Yeah, it's because you literally have so many things you got to change before you get in there in this quick match between Milwaukee and Phoenix. So Crowder will step in and Bobby Portis will step into the starting five. And I guess you just, you slide Giannis all the way to the 5. You take Brook Lopez out and Bobby Portis comes in.
It is a testament to just how deep the game goes. We had a good chat in the Twitch chat, and yeah, we're still reading your comments. Don't worry, we're interested in what you have to say. Everyone has their favorite game mode, my career, my team, or you just go straight to play now. Just use the current rosters. Even in the most vanilla of game modes, there is so much depth. You can really get your team playing exactly the way you like them.
Well, this is a big game. Certainly Steph Kerr, undefeated in the tournament, 15-0, can now eliminate the dreams and the chances of Henny here after that third quarter disconnect. And you can see just all the changes you can make here in NBA 2K21. And it all has a huge impact on how those other 4 players that you're not controlling react to the offense on the other side.
We could go through them all individually. Personally, having been there, done that for a few years now, it'll still come down to your main matchups. It's good to have the rest of your 5, your bench players, all exactly the way you want them. But let's be honest, it's going to be Chris Paul, it's going to be Giannis, and it is going to be
that's
direct.
A crazy substitution. That Tony Craig, you can see him went in there and looked at the badges. Gets the opening and one. That's something that I did not see. I did not see Tony Craig going to have an impact here in the grand finals.
Had the pleasure of watching him here in our Australian league in the NBL, played with the Cairns Taipans, and of course was at the Bucks before the Suns, meaning he is guaranteed a ring regardless of who wins in the NBA Finals, which is quite incredible. Within NBA 2K21, you're quite right, not often going to be a starter, maybe infrequently used off the bench, but sometimes, even at 1-0 down, maybe particularly at 1-0 down, it just helps to throw something different at your opponent.
We have a pause in the action, but you're right. Torrey Craig, it doesn't matter what happens. He's going to be a champion. There is certainly our tournament mirroring what's going on in the 2021 NBA Finals. As I mentioned, 2 teams that haven't been there in a long, long time. Scott Cole, Nate Patrick back with you. We do have a little bit of pause in the action. I want to remind you again, if you want to get involved in these tournaments, it's literally free. You can go out there to compete.playstation.com, sign up. You're watching. I mean, that's the cool thing about sports games is everybody thinks they can beat anybody, right? So you watch these and you're like, man, I could beat that guy. Well, here's your opportunity, Nate. Sign up. I'm not talking to you personally, Nate, but hey, sign up and roll the dice and see how you do in some of these PlayStation tournaments.
Look, I know my place, and it is at my age firmly behind the microphone. But as you say, Twitch chat, you're very confident. You always are. I could beat these guys if only I had have signed up. Well, this edition, this NBA 2K21 section of these PlayStation tournaments is coming to a close. If you think you cracked at some other games, there are plenty more coming up.
And no question about it, while these players get their adjustments and everything sorted out, we're going to step away for a couple minutes, give you an opportunity. Sign up for some of those PlayStation tournaments coming up around the bend. We'll have Game 2 of the European Grand Finals here on the other side. Welcome back on a great Saturday. We already got one game in the books. Scott Cole, Nate Patrick along with you. We're getting ready for game number 2. There was something in the settings there between the two players that they wanted to just back all the way out, restart, make sure they get everything going the way they wanted to go. Because Nate, let's be honest, this is a big game. Game 2, this is an elimination game. In fact, for Henny, he loses this one. He's out of the tournament. And Steph Kerr, still love that name, would be your champion and take home a brand new PlayStation 5.
You can completely understand it, particularly if you're Henny. If you lose now, it's over. We're not going to, of course, play that third game if it does go 2-0 to Step, but we'll find out together. Does Henny have what it takes? Can he use his limited but extremely valuable big tournament experience in another big moment?
Yeah, and you're just hoping for a great game 2. We didn't get to finish game 1. So you'd love to see at least all the way to the buzzer, all the way to triple zeros. And if you're Henny, you had the lead in game one. So, I mean, you looked actually dominant at times. So even though you are down a game, I feel like he still has a good amount of confidence going into this game number 2.
100%. We spoke about the positives that he can look for, particularly Henny and Chris Paul. And then defensively, Aiton on Giannis. That was incredible in that first quarter to see him be aggressive, really come out and look to get Giannis to turn the ball over. It happened 2 times in the first 40 seconds. Then maybe he figured that out. Things got on a bit of a roll. The early pass out from Giannis. Giannis getting the space and being able to drive inside. And then the double came at Antetokounmpo. The man's free in the corner. DiVincenzo, I believe, the primary benefactor on more than 3 occasions, 3 or 4 times. He nailed the tray, only greening one of those. It'll be fascinating to see how game 2 plays out. All we want is for a good connection and a good game.
Well, here we go. The opening start to this one. Gets it out to Giannis, and we're going to get that early timeout that we're so used to because there is a plethora, a cornucopia, if you will. I know I said that really a plethora of times today. There's so many settings that you want to change here because you got to play the meta. You know, you want to know the key differences between what you're seeing in the NBA Finals when you're watching on your TV and what you're seeing right here is you got to play the meta, which is NBA 2K21. And certainly Giannis, you know, kind of rolling and controlling there at the top of the key is a big part of the success if you're going to play Milwaukee.
I do like, and again, we touched on this earlier, while there's so many settings, both for your team as a 5 and then individually you can tweak, you can change. You're going to have a way of playing that you yourself enjoy. When you play the game as much as these competitors do, you need to keep it fresh. You need to bring that joy to your game plan. Quite simply, some people, particularly those using Milwaukee, won't find the fun in Giannis just going inside every time. While that might be the meta, that might be the most effective way, your best guaranteed way of scoring 2 points. If you're not finding that fun, you will stop doing that. It's simply a thing you see in basketball. You're going to see it in 2K. Competitors out there having fun.
Of course, Nate, we got denied a all Spaniard final between you had Steph Curry beating Pablo, you had certainly Henny beating Vardo, and now you just kind of sit back, relax, and say, all right, you're just 1 game away. That's what you got to think if you're Steph Curry. You haven't lost a game. You're 15-0, and you're 4 quarters away from winning that PlayStation 5 and a whole bunch of store credit.
It's so easy. It must be so easy to have that mindset. 18 years old. We did have a question in the chat from Faraj, asking, what do these competitors get? What are they playing for? Well, first place will get that PlayStation 5 and some credit. The runners-up, if you will, with some PSN credit too. As we have a look at, hopefully now, those final settings, final changes being made, and we'll well and truly get underway here in game 2.
Steph Curry up a game. Oh, right away. Middleton seeing some of his first action. And you saw there, not only in the settings, but you saw Steph Curry go in there, and when he wanted to look at all the badges for a lot of these players over there on Phoenix, because that's a big part of the meta is being able to stop the strengths of a player like Chris Paul.
I absolutely love it when we are using current rosters. You really can just watch the NBA Finals, see what's good, see what's not working, and either fix that, play it the way you wish your team was playing, or just reciprocate, bring it out in that side, get the bucks, playing a little better or just do what Phoenix are doing to get 2-0 up?
I thought for a moment Henney might make some changes in the defensive adjustments because Middleton, who we didn't see a lot of in game one, has already come out here and knocked down 2 threes. Chris Paul with his first miss of the tournament that we've seen so far, but Ayton, the Windex man, able to clean up the mess.
Those 88 offensive boards telling again. You can tell as well, Henney does not mind going for a contested look inside, believing he'll get it straight back.
And DiVincenzo. It's a 3, and let's see what he's just making sure. Like, okay, I'm pretty sure I had no help defense on. But why is DiVincenzo wide open in the corner? 3 straight threes for Steph Kerr. You talked about the slow start in game one. We're not seeing that here in game two.
Yeah, and as you can see, the top left of your screen, game one going to Steph, there would have been a bit there he wasn't happy with. And indeed, after Giannis' ball wasn't working, what exactly do you have up your sleeve? It is the Chris Middleton three-point game and mid-range game that is working perfectly thus far.
Yeah, Middleton with 8 points. I don't believe he scored in game one. So I already like the cat and mouse little chess game. We got a loose ball. Picked up by Middleton. Takes the 3. Bang! 11 points. You talk about changing your whole game plan for game two. You played Giannis ISO ball, and you come out with a full team game here to start off game number 2. Ayton eating down low.
Middleton, it feels so underrated as a player, both in real life and in the game. 85 overall, but can score inside, particularly outside. And we'll wait to see if a first miss will occur at some point.
So many players signed up on the European side. We're down to just 2. Steph Curry taking that first game. And now here the best of 3. He's got a chance to eliminate Henney. Look at Chris Paul getting to the rim. Cuts the lead down to 5. 16-11. Scott Cole, Nate Patrick with you. And oh my goodness, Middleton's got his badge. And they got the steal. The steal, and I actually like the timeout there because you had a 1-on-3. I know it's Giannis, but great job securing the possession.
We talked before about the button spam, if you will. That is intentional. That is a wise decision. Now you can have support. Giannis has a few friends to play with.
And there is Dirk finally waking up. I told you he'd be here eventually. But what a start for Steph Curry. It's been the Middleton show. He's up by 10. And Chris Paul going full church league down there. Getting fundamental.
As a church league player, I'm not sure that I necessarily agree with your sentiment, but it was too simple, way too easy. And that is the tight handles of CP3 on display.
Well, you know, you're playing in the church leagues, you're playing in the rec leagues, you don't see a lot of jams. You know, so when I see players get down there low and lay it in, I'm like, all right, that's something I could do. Chris Paul, 18-foot jump shot, good. Good start for Milwaukee. I'm not ready to say GG's, not even close. It's a long way to go. But the Torrey Craig change, there's a lot of players. That's another 3. Excuse me, they'll call that a 2. Couple players for Henney already on cold rings there. He's got 2 guys that are real frosty right now. Chris Paul, no, and Giannis with a big rebound. Holiday runs it out, gives it to Middleton, and we got a foul on Bridges. That's his first. Giannis, no, that's knocked away. DiVincenzo tried to get it. And it comes away for Phoenix. Chris Paul all alone on the other end. Cuts it to 6. He can hold it for the final possession of the first quarter. European Grand Finals, game number 2, elimination game, and Middleton has been the story, Nate.
Little 3-man game, quick passing, quick rotation. This won't be points at the other end. A good, momentous finish to that first quarter for Steph Curry.
Well, he's seizing the opportunity here. Maybe got gifted game 1. Doesn't matter. He's coming out showing, hey, as long as I have a good start, and certainly he had a slow start in game 1, he has flipped the script here in game number 2. Leads by 8 as we head into the next 5 minutes. 5-minute quarters, best of 3. And there is DeAndre Ayton working out of the corner. Cuts us back down to a 2-possession game. And Bobby Portis, it's a name we haven't called much today. And he draws a foul and one.
The very early release, it was contested, but you get that out of your hands as quickly as possible, get the contact. You'll at least go to the line. Indeed, here, a 3-point play the old-fashioned way.
28-19, PlayStation 5. $250 in store credit out there on the PlayStation Store. And right now, if you're kicking yourself saying, man, I should have signed up, I could have been involved, I could compete, you can do so out there on literally compete.playstation.com. It's easy to remember. So many games you can have an opportunity to play. I think I counted over 20 games that they had out there that you can compete in, as Giannis puts a back up 8. 6 points for Giannis. I'm just mesmerized as Chris Paul takes it to the rack, misses too strong off the window. That Steph Curry come out here and he's playing a totally different game plan, like completely different game plan here, Nate.
It's a credit both to Steph and the game itself. There are some out there, dare I say, we won't name them, but some games it feels like this is the meta. You're going to do this and only this within 2 games, back-to-back games of NBA 2K21 with the same competitor. We are seeing the same side play in a completely different way.
He's going 4 round 1 with Giannis, and the 3-point shooting has been destructive so far to Henny's chances. Trailing by 9, needs a defensive stop. Middleton gets it off to Giannis. Giannis working on the left wing. He's going to back down Chris Paul, slides by him for the jam. He's only missed 1 shot. 14 of 15 to start the ball game. I think anybody would take that. Ayton, good defense there by Giannis. Antetokounmpo, no, can't get the block. That's Ayton. And I think right now, Nate, if you're Milwaukee, you're happy giving up 2s. You'll just take your 2s, you'll give up 2s. Got this big 11-point lead.
It's a noticeable difference from game 1, the lack of fouling. I really liked that. I commented on that midway through game 1. Unfortunate Holiday with the foul. Giannis was coming in for the block. But I enjoyed that. It's smart. You have them there to use up. Use them early, particularly on Giannis. Stop him from getting inside. Foul him near the line. You know he's not going up for the shot. For whatever reason, Henny not doing it in game 2.
Well, you cannot leave Middleton. You just can't. He's destroying them. 7 of 7 from beyond the arc. There you can see. I mean, that alone is an 18-point difference in the game, just in 3-point shooting. And he's in control now with the badge. Clear the runway! Flight 34 is landing here in Milwaukee. Able to get the easy bucket, but like I said, they're just gonna, you'll give up as many 2s as you want right now if you're Steph Curry. Somebody's asking in the chat, like, why isn't he using Booker more? We asked the same thing in game 1. And right now, the lead is 15. Chris Middleton's got as many points as is on his jersey, 22. And that's the one player on the court, Nate, that you cannot leave open. And there is Booker.
Right on cue. You actually saw Step using Middleton trying to guard Booker, and I think that's the answer to your question in the chat. It's not that Booker isn't wanting to be used. He is certainly, Henny, looking for his guard and that sharp three-point shooting. It has just been defense on point from Step.
Former MVP Giannis strolls to the line. I mean, he might get a big enough lead that he can bring his brother out there. You know, we might get some double Greek action.
Thanasis is always good value, the hype man, energy man.
We haven't seen many players come off the bench. They get the foul on DiVincenzo, former Villanova player. And that historic Big East Conference. I mentioned before, both of these clubs had been a long time since they've been in the NBA Finals. 30 years ago for Phoenix, it was the Bulls that beat Charles Barkley. But Milwaukee won a championship back in 1974 with Lou Alcindor, who would then become Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and who I think is another top 10 player in Oscar Robinson. They were leading the way as we've cut it down to a 12-point game. All Steph Kerr. He's got the ball under a minute to go here in the first half.
Trading twos for twos. Giannis inside and then walking outside, if you like, and out of bounds. Maybe didn't think he'd be so fortuitous as to get all the way through untouched and unscathed. I will say, with Dirk in the chat right now, we talked about the global championship from 2K20, the Giannis ISO ball. Dirk was getting a little sick of it. Hopefully he's enjoying the extra variety here in NBA 2K21.
Well, if you're Henny right now, the man from France, you're trailing the Russian representative of Steph Kerr, who has been undefeated in the tournament so far. You're in a mental pretzel right now. I mean, you're down 12. We certainly got a little ways to go. It's still the first half. But if you can't stop the three-point shooting, you got no way to get back into the game. There's Paul with his badge. That's a shot creator badge. And he still goes with Ayton. Ayton with a miss and Giannis with the board. Final seconds of the first half. Here's Holiday. Well, I thought he could have went and laid it in with Holiday. Instead, he's going to force it up with Portis. And the first half comes to a close, Nate. 12-point lead for Kerr.
You do see that a lot at the end of quarters when that shot is taken in the final moments. You don't actually get a chance to time it. The player just chucks it up and you see where it lands. Many would argue that they actually hit more often than not, so that's why you'll see competitors wait for that final second shot.
Well, Chris Paul, 23 points. He's certainly doing all he can, but it was the hot start by Steph Kerr, who came out and basically put on the Chris Middleton show. And he's been running a horns play that Chris Middleton just comes to the top of the key, and he's had a ton of success with it.
There is an early foul that would have been a quick transition to at the other end. That's more like it. Competitors getting dialed in. Henny particularly will have to be ready for some variety for the oop. Ayton slams it down.
Well, for the first time, we got just a single-digit lead for Steph Curry. I mean, he can just drive the paint right there. I don't know what he's waiting on. Blinking red, out of Stam, kicks it out to the corner, and the three-point shot has decimated Henny. And there's another steal and a quick timeout.
You're seeing why Step is undefeated. What was it? 14 wins and 0 losses. Quick thinking from the inbound play, and then even quicker thinking to take the timeout afterwards. A lot of time, you get that rush of blood. You're excited at getting the ball back, and you chuck up a nothing shot. Here, the opportunity to take 24 seconds and make this Giannis ISO work. Oh, detonates over Ayton, and that is enough.
That's it. That's
to
GG's.
see Henny get out of there.
Steph Kerr is going to be your grand finals champion over here in Europe. And I'm not one to disconnect, but at that point, you're down double digits. Giannis about to get his badge. All of a sudden, you're going 5 out, ISO ball, and Henny just says, all right, it ain't my day. I'm going to GG this out. Congratulations to Steph Kerr. He's going to get a PlayStation 5 and a ton of store credit. He's going to be able to load that brand new PlayStation up with a lot of games. And here's the highlights, Nate.
Look, you see me laughing. It is certainly not... I'm not having a shot. I'm laughing because I've been there. Surely everyone in the Twitch chat, back me up. You've been there yourselves. You just know it's not going your way. You had that big momentum play against you. You get detonated. There was an and one in there as well, I'm pretty sure. You've gotten to the grand final. It's a good effort. It's a great effort, in fact. But you've got to respect class when you're up against it. Steph Kerr going unbeaten throughout. And after those early three-point shots, I think it's fair to say that was the key. We talked about Giannis. We talked about ISO ball. We talked about finishing inside. It was actually the extra pass. You'll see time and time again, when that lead got to about double digits, those twos started to be taken because why not? You can stay in front, keep in front, you back yourself defensively. And again, when Giannis has got takeover, what are you meant to do?
I tell you what, it was not an easy journey. He won 16 games today. let's just put it that way. I mean, he was phenomenal. All the grind on the European side of the bracket, and I hope immediately they told those guys in North America, fire up the PlayStations because we're going to have probably an early start to the North American finals after that quick, and I'm talking quick, Nate, 2-0. It'll be interesting. We'll get to preview the North American finals, but while we got an opportunity here, go out to compete.playstation.com. You can sign up for some amazing tournaments. All you got to have is a PlayStation 4. They even have some tournaments that they're running now on PlayStation 5. Already sell FIFA tournament, FIFA 21, sign me up. NBA 2K21, sign me up. But Tekken, Street Fighter, all these kind of games, it's absolutely amazing. We'll take an opportunity. We'll step away. We'll get ready for the North American Grand Finals. It's USA taking on Canada. Will it be Z-Foy? Will it be iHoop? Who's going to win a PlayStation 5? We're going to give out another one coming up just on the other side. Cannot wait. North American Grand Finals coming your way. And we are back here on a Saturday, and what a Saturday it's been so far. We just crowned a champion over in Europe. It's the Russian of Steph Kerr, who is taking home the brand new PlayStation 5 and a whole bunch of goodies to go along with that. And now we kind of go back across the pond here, Nate. It is going to be a North American final. You have Zfoy or Zedfoy from your area, your neck of the woods, going up against iHoop, the Canadian. USA versus Canada coming up here in the final. And I tell you what, I think actually this is going to be a very entertaining matchup.
I dare say it will be just that little bit closer. Don't get me wrong. Again, you mentioned here in Australia, I've been chilling on the beach, soaking up the sun. Maybe the EU Grand Final was a bit like that, a little bit relaxing and vibing. I think you'll find here in North America, the competition really steps up a notch.
Well, Jameer Foy is 18 years old. He's from New Jersey, and he will be controlling the Milwaukee Bucks that were oh so powerful there in that first game over in Europe, first two games. And he is, in fact, undefeated, Nate, 7-0 so far here in the tournament.
And when you've got Milwaukee, I can't help but feel it is a significant advantage, whether that is the Giannis ISO ball, whether that is dragging defenders into the paint for the three. It works either way.
And then you got iHoop. He's just 18-year-old himself. He'll be controlling the Phoenix Suns in our NBA Finals 2021 themed PlayStation tournament. Of course, he is from Canada, and he, in fact, is also undefeated, 8-0 here in this tournament.
Good to see a few Canadians in the chat as well. Obviously, we know US of A, you invented the sport. You are the favorites, whether it's real basketball or NBA 2K21. I saw that, unfortunately, Canada did not make the Olympics yet again. There's a bit of hurt going on in that country when it comes to basketball. Maybe a wrong could be righted here in this PlayStation tournament.
Well, I can tell you from calling the NBA 2K League, not only is there a lot of talent around the world, as we've seen already today, but Canada has a little bit of a hotbed of NBA 2K players, and so I'm interested to see what Hoop is going to bring here. And he's got the tall task the theme that we've been talking about all day long, Nate, is how are you going to handle Giannis?
And we saw in that EU final, Ayton get busy early, and by that I mean aggressive defending. Go in for the steal. Don't wait for the one-on-one in the post, because let's be honest, Giannis is going to win that battle all day long. However, if you do choose to go down that double team route, what are you going to do? Are you good enough on the rotation in defense? Manually get those players across to cover the corners? Or are you going to be giving up easy threes?
That's tough because you got Giannis surrounded by, four good shooters. That has been the meta that we've seen so far. So he goes into ISO ball. I wouldn't say we saw 5 out until very late in that tournament. We saw a lot of horns, a lot of plays where Giannis would be driving on the right side. Middleton would be coming up, to the top of the key looking for threes. And, of course, DiVincenzo and Portis in the corner were certainly collecting a lot of corner threes as well. And I think really, if you're Phoenix, if it's me, and I'm just telling you from my perspective of playing NBA 2K, I'm taking Jay Crowder and I'm trying to drain as much stam out of Giannis as I can, Nate. I'm trying to get that Gatorade cup up as quick as I can on Giannis' stam bar.
We saw as early as the second quarter Giannis be stamina depleted. Is the damage going to be done? Do you go even harder then with Giannis and attack, get yourself a big lead in the first, and then maybe pass it around a little more? I will say as well, when you're looking at the Suns, can we please finally get Booker into this game? He was outmarked and outmanned in the EU final. I would love to see the young franchise man get his shot here in North America.
Well, we're already seeing some changes here. It's interesting. PJ Tucker is going to find his way into the lineup. No DiVincenzo. We'll see if that changes. You get the early timeout, and if you're, sitting at home watching, well, why the timeout before the second even goes off? Because there is so many changes that you can make, and you can pick offenses from years gone by. You can run the Bulls triangle offense. I mean, he gets really deep in the coaching side of things. There you see the official starting lineups. Middleton will stay in there, and he has Giannis at the PG. He's not even like, all right, I'm going to put him at the power forward. I'm going to get everything set up. He's like, nah, I'm just going to play him at the PG. I'm going to let him guard Chris Paul. And here's the double team early. Back over to CB3. Ayton. Waiting. Mikal Bridges back to Ayton. Boy, he's taking a lot of time on the clock here. And Crowder, no, that's a shot clock violation. I don't mind the slowing down, Nate, eating the clock, trying to limit Giannis's chances. But that's too much time.
Yeah, it hurts. I'm not going to lie. Having been there, done that, taking your time to get into a game, it feels bad. It can pay long-term dividends, however, particularly considering this is a best-of-3 series.
Well, we've seen it before. We saw it again. The whole team collapsing on Giannis and them hitting a three in the corner. There's Booker off the mark. And right now, I'm a little bit worried for Hoop in these opening possessions that I've seen so far.
As I said, it doesn't look good. It doesn't feel good, does it? Even if you're watching as a neutral, you just want a good competitive game. We'll see whether this is indeed just early game jitters from iHoop or whether it's building towards something.
Shot from the corner. I will say Hoop's playing some pretty good defense so far. He's going to have to show us some offense. Chris Paul pulls up for three. Yes, sir. And now maybe you shake the nerves off a little bit. You finally get your first bucket here in the grand finals. Z Foy. Green in the corner. That's PJ Tucker. We didn't even see him in the European final.
Love it. The man who came across late from the Rockets, of course, he's there for 3 and D. I know, in fact, my wife, big fan of a PJ Tucker corner three, gets so irritated when he's left open because IRL and in-game, he's going to drain it.
Here's Giannis now. We had a 2-point game. It's good to see Hoop finally wake up, and that three falls. That was Drew Holiday. So 11-6 early, game one, best of 3. 5-minute quarters. And here's Chris Paul. Milwaukee almost playing a 2-3 zone here, and they leave a wide open three-pointer. Can't leave Booker open.
There's no excuse for it, really. If you're the Bucks in defense, as we see here, another free corner three, they'll drop all day. Of course, if you're defending the Bucks, you need to worry about the paint for the Suns. They just don't have that threat. It's the three-point line where they can and will get it done. Do not collapse.
Here's Hoop. This is just game one here in North America. Hoop representing Canada. And there is Zed Foy. That's a man from New Jersey. Pushes his lead up to 7. Chris Paul trying to back down, looking for these three-pointers. Here's Booker. Boy, great defense on both sides right now. Ayton, a little bit of hop step, and he somehow got it to go.
Just inside of his man, possibly contested on a different day, but in 2K21, any type of challenge from behind is just ineffective, unless it's a clean block. It certainly wasn't that as such. It's a free, wide open look. However, need to pay attention here at the other end.
There's Chris Paul. Booker in the corner. And that's got to be your strategy if you're controlling the Phoenix Suns. You're going to have to outshoot Milwaukee from the perimeter. You want to try to contain Giannis as much as you can, not so he gets his badge. But you can't leave Middleton. If I'm leaving anybody open, it's probably Portis, and he can even knock it down. He's got that, that 3 signification. And he can hit me from beyond the arc.
Most definitely. 87 rated 3-point shot. He is one of the threats. It's just more that his movement, the spacing, the ability to get him free off the ball, a little bit more difficult. I dare say he won't miss if he gets a wide open look.
Yeah, he's a little cumbersome along the perimeter. You got plenty of time to, I guess the point I was trying to make, you got plenty of time to get back to him if you need to. Got a slow release as well.
Yeah, former Bulls man selected in the draft.
Man, there's a good shot on the baseline, and that gets Middleton his badge with 7 seconds to go in the first. That's not what you want to see if you're iHoop. You don't want to see Middleton with that sharpshooting badge. And that's in and out. And that's how the first quarter will come to an end. It's Z Foy, the American, up 22-16 over Canada's iHoop.
The key will be for the Suns, can you stop this three-point barrage? It is so difficult when you're focused on Giannis inside. If he gets takeover, it can be game over. But it is the three-point men. You mentioned Portis, DiVincenzo will be there as an option, Chris Middleton. And if you can green them at the other end, it's going to help you get back into this game, no doubt.
Someone in the chat said we said that this was on Hall of Fame level. No, no one said that. That I can confirm.
I think someone's getting me confused. Someone asked if you win a PS5, if you win the entire thing, if you win the grand final, to which that's a yes.
That is a yes. Shot from the corner, and they drop it in. Yeah, Hall of Fame's a different scenario. I mean, shooting on Hall of Fame is challenging, as you would think, as that one rattles in.
The very
25-22.
Oh dear, you don't like to see it as a neutral, but hey, we talked about it, didn't we, Scott? Maybe even off broadcast. If you leave your player, a competitor, wide open, I don't think you can complain regardless of the timing. You need to contest the look to give yourself a chance.
Certainly the ratings come into play when your guy's wide open, and there's a rim rocker from the Greek Freak. And that puts the Bucks up 8. Yeah, somebody in chat's like, very early? Question mark? 30-22. We haven't seen a lot of them. That was probably the first very early that we've seen drop. And Giannis clear the runway. Showtime! Team. Oh, I thought for a minute it was going to be team takeover. I was like, no. Please don't let that happen. But we got double badges out there for Holiday and Tucker now. Drew Holiday with the lockdown takeover. You got Tucker with that sharpshooting badge. And that's a big 3 to cut it to 7.
You see there, maybe this is just how it's done in NA. Ooh. As that goes down with the one from the line to come. Hopefully this is indeed just changes and not an early rage quit. Plenty of time left.
No,
don't you worry.
Plenty of time. Yeah,
don't you worry.
Plenty of time to get back into this one.
But it is good to see.
Machine Elf in the Twitch chat brings up a good point. I mean, at some point you got to call some timeouts. We need to see probably some substitutions at this point in the first half. And he's just about run Chris Paul ragged. And one completed, 3 points the old-fashioned way, and the lead is all of a sudden up to 10, Nate.
Little margins, little moments, and one plays. You know, 3-point shots that you take that maybe aren't timed, getting drained. It can all stack up way up against you, or at least that's how it feels. And in this best of 3, as we saw previously, a game 1 win is so huge. And that is just simply too easy.
Goodness.
Once again, good contest. Giannis gets it back.
Wow.
Stripped again, and maybe a bit of poise. Or is this just getting a little bit out of control, Scott?
Cue the Benny Hill theme. It's getting wild out here on a Saturday. And oh my goodness, I hoop. got to get some icon passing going here because Giannis is eating him up in the full court press with that badge. You get a little frustrated, and now all the momentum in favor of Milwaukee and Zefoy. And you can see all the players but one. Only Booker is not on a cold ring right now. That's bad. And it's also bad defense to leave the only guy that's not cold wide open.
So easy for us to see from back here, isn't it? It's evident, it's obvious, and yet when you're in the heat of battle, when you're playing for a PlayStation 5 and credit, it's easy to get a little lost in the headlights.
Well, Milwaukee's only missed 3 shots, and 2 of them was on that Giannis steal, where he got blocked twice. Let that sink in. 43-31. Big time second quarter for Zefoy, the man from America. Both these players is 18 years old. They fought through the competition out on compete.playstation.com. You can sign up. And Giannis again. 50 seconds ago in the half. The lead's now 17. I'm not ready to put GGs in the chat, but I'm leaning that way.
It's getting a little messy. He needs to tighten up the passing. It's these turnovers that are very costly for iHoop. The good news is that is something that can be easily rectified. You just need that little bit more patience on the ball.
Well, the good news for him, it's a best of 3. So the man from Canada, iHoop, is going to have an opportunity to make some game 2 adjustments here. And that's why if I'm him, I play it out. You know, I try to mess with some adjustments right now, see what works, take this opportunity. He has cut it to 13. Phoenix does have the firepower to get back in it. But it'd have to be a collapse right now by Zefoy. And Middleton rattles in a 3. iHoop doesn't hit the flick up before the end of the half. And you can see 84% from the field. And when it comes down to it, all those steals, all those turnovers, Nate, that's the difference in the ballgame.
In that second quarter, particularly, iHoop a little reckless, seeing that the game was getting out of reach. Look, threes from Booker like that will help, but it is defensively where he needs to tighten up. And then when he gets that ball back with a few stops, do not give it away cheaply.
If you don't know how this tournament was structured, they actually used the real playoff matchups. You could go through the Eastern Conference or the Western Conference. So today they've had to battle through a bunch of Suns v. Suns matchups and a bunch of Milwaukee versus Milwaukee matchups to be the representative here in North America for both of these clubs. And now he just needs some stops. Easier said than done. You can't give up any more threes. You just cannot afford to give up threes.
It is so hard, but you can see there, top right, Giannis not just with 18 points, 8 assists, and we've only just started this third quarter. He's not really going to be a triple-double machine, as it were, in this format. The rebounds will go to other players, particularly if you've got Giannis as the point guard. It won't matter. You're going to have one of the biggest double-doubles possible.
Well, iHoop has shot well from beyond the arc. He's made 12 three-pointers so far. That's pretty much been his offense, but his perimeter defense is really struggling. And, I think in game 2, Nate, he's just going to have to forget about trying to defend Giannis in the paint and worry about trying to guard these shooters on the perimeter.
I'm not sure if he was having a look at that European final, but there is a way to do it. You can defend Giannis inside without giving up all those easy three-point looks. You just need patience, maybe a bit of variety, maybe set the chair and pull it away a few times, some early fouls, basically anything other than what we're getting right now.
Someone in the chats was like, well, Giannis is OP. He's just using Giannis. Hey, man, There's a PlayStation 5 on the line, a whole bunch of store credit. I mean, you can really load up your new system with games. I'm doing whatever it takes. When it's a competition, if I'm sitting on the couch, Nate, and we're playing, I'm like, all right, I start to feel a little bad. But if it's competition, if the guap's on the line, you're trying to secure the bag, forget about it, man. I'm doing whatever it takes.
What do you mean? If you're Bud and you're coaching the Milwaukee Bucks, you don't say, oh, I've got Giannis, but I feel a bit bad, so I guess I'll give some other people a go. You go to the big man, you reverse jam it down, and you are all about the showtime.
Well, the lead has grown to 18. Extra pass, and Crowder knocks down the three. Ihoop can score. He just can't get the stops. He's giving up way too many three-pointers on the other end. You really have to try to turn Milwaukee into a two-point team. And there's a good defensive effort there. Booker in transition. You bet you. He's done a good job at scoring. 15 of 20 from beyond the arc. That extra pass is tearing down this defense. And that's why I said, even, back in when we were talking about the European matchup, I'm just letting Giannis get as many twos as he wants. If he wants to go down there and dunk it every time he can, but I'm not giving up a three.
Look, it's 4:30 in the morning here in Sydney, Australia, so my wife is, I'm sure, very calmly asleep. And yet I feel like even she is stirring at the sight of PJ Tucker wide open in the corner for three time and time again. Bobby Portis as well. These are the adjustments that will need to be made, as dare I say, we already start thinking about game two.
And Ayton, finally getting Ayton involved. You'd love to see some pick and roll from this Phoenix team. The problem is you get down, and all of a sudden you got to turn it into a three-point fest. He tries a little bit of three-quarter court trap, and it leads to another open three. Middleton now with 21. And he's made 6 three-pointers. And that's a foul on a three from Giannis, so Booker will go to the line shooting three.
Could be a big moment if you are looking for a way back in. And indeed, the Twitch chat is saying, Ihoop not out of this whatsoever. A free 3 points is the way back in.
Yeah, he's just got to prove that he can get some stops. And this is what he's got to do. He's just got to, roll the dice with Ayton. See how many stops Ayton can get. Shot from the corner. PJ couldn't get over there. Well, it's Portis on the defense. Giannis now. This is just what I do. I let Giannis do his thing. And he takes it away. Almost. And Giannis is going to get an easy layup. But you're okay with the twos. You prove you can make threes. And if you go back, Nate, it was about a minute span where Ihoop kind of came unraveled in that second quarter and turned the ball over 3 straight times.
It, to me, is the difference. We can talk about the 2-3 zone. We can talk about Giannis being OP, the basics, the fundamentals, not giving away the ball when the pressure is on. It really seemed to get away from Ihoop in that period.
Well, he needs a bucket here. Final seconds of the third, trailing by 14. What are you doing? He just stopped at midcourt and forces one up with Booker. Well, they got a 14-point game going into the fourth quarter. A commanding lead for the American Foy, just 18 years old out of New Jersey. And he is 5 minutes away from taking game number 1 here in this best of 3 and getting one game closer to winning a PlayStation 5 and a whole bunch of store credit.
Have a look at that defending again on Giannis. Maybe, is he listening? Is Ihoop having a watch along of the stream right now and has heard Scott and I get a little frustrated at the repeated mistakes That is much better. One-on-one defending. I don't care if it's Giannis. I don't care who your defender is. If you're good enough mechanically, if you can get in the way, you will force Giannis to throw up rubbish and you will capitalize. This is Giannis. Once again, that's where you want him. How often have we seen him out there? Not often enough. And then it doesn't even matter. Dances around, spins around, hops inside. And maybe there is little you can do at times.
Which both players are going to go home with at least some store credit. You buy yourself a bunch of games. But they want the PlayStation 5. Let's be honest, who doesn't? And a good three from the corner. And that's what I'm saying at this point. I'm just trading twos for threes. That's going to be my game plan for game two. And you might as well put it, you can't foul. That's the one thing you can't have. And Giannis will go to the line.
Certainly.
I'm letting Giannis score as much as you want, Nate. And then I'm trying to come down here and hit threes.
Could not agree more. And if you are going to contest Giannis, you do it a little higher. Don't wait till you're at the rim. When he's got the run, when he's about to detonate on you, it's all too late. See if you can foul him early. See if you can stop that run.
84-73. A little bit over 3 minutes to go here in the fourth. Game one. Hoop representing Canada. Z-Foy representing America, and another Showtime. He proves it by the badge. And we got a foul. It's going to be on Drew Holiday. 13-point game, but I'm telling you, a lot of it was just that second quarter. A few missteps, a few turnovers. He shot the ball well enough. I think he has a good enough offense to make this series interesting.
There will be time to reflect, reset, and go again. And there you go, the one-on-one defending, proving effective, certainly more so than the double team, the collapse, and the wide open three. You don't want to call it too early, and if there are wide open threes, it could change somehow. That doesn't drop.
That would have cut it to 7. Instead, it's a 12-point lead on the other end. Little 5-point swing. What could have been? Chris Paul turns it over. And the hope is starting to look a little dim here in game number one for the Canadian iHoop. We had a sweep in the European Grand Finals. It was the Russian Steph Kerr taking home the PlayStation 5. And it certainly looks like Z-Foy, with under 2 minutes to go, he'd have to have a collapse right here, Nate.
Zamir must be delighted at how this has gone. All about this man, and we did say early, 33 points make that 35, but 11 dimes, and I dare say it's been those assists that have really been the dagger. Wide open threes, easy money, easy points, and what looks to be a comfortable game one.
And game one, in fact, is going to go to Z-Foy. The lead's now 15. And now iHoop's going to, oh my goodness. That's what happened in the second quarter. Was all of a sudden, Giannis was a complete full court press by himself. And we'll see what adjustments are made for game two, but Z-Foy coming out here. It looks like he's going to score 100 points here in this first game.
It's always a nice milestone. I don't care what form of 2K21 you're playing. My team may be a bit of wreck, or indeed some play now. You get to that triple figure mark, you know you've got the win. Defensively, I dare say 80 or so is actually quite a lot to concede. But on offense, everything has hit, everything has worked.
He's going with the little frig now. It's Giannis's brother, and he gets it to go. Maybe trolling a little bit. We've seen DiVincenzo. I got no problem with DiVincenzo being out there. I thought for a moment he was going to bring in Pat, but he didn't. Speaking of the guys that have a lot of energy. 96-79. Will he get to 100? That's the only question left in the tail here. And I like it. I'm surprised he didn't take Giannis just completely out of respect. And that's another shot from Jay Crowder. And that's the kind of silver lining you take away for Hoop is, hey, man, I shot the 3 ball really well.
It's just the amount of looks. I think there's been 15 more shots for the Bucks over the Suns, for Zamir over iHoop. And you can't win games of basketball that way. Protect the ball, embrace the fundamentals. That's your blueprint for game 2.
Yeah, I thought turnovers were certainly the story. I mean, Giannis certainly had a big game, closing in on 40 points, but you got to take care of the onion, Nate, or it'll make you cry. And that'll do it for game number 1. Z-Foy, winner 96-82. Showed a little sportsmanship there in the final minute or so, slowing it down. And in this best of 3, game number 1 will go to the American, the man from New Jersey. It is Z-Foy, and he played really well. I mean, I know Giannis is tough to stop. I didn't really feel like he went fully, Giannis meta. He kind of worked it around, and when it came down to it, it's really those turnovers that was the difference in this first game.
We can talk about Giannis all you want. It's the obvious talking point. I don't care if it's the NBA Finals or here in this PlayStation tournament. You see the big Greek man, you know he's going to be the go-to. But again, as you say, and it won't be in these highlights, it is something maybe not talked about enough in basketball or in NBA 2K21. You can hit your threes, you can take your looks inside, but do you want the ball more? Are you going to be gritty on the defensive end? Do those little things, mash square, steal, win the ball back, contest every look. If you're not fighting to hold possession, to keep that ball, you will find yourself with less looks, you will get turnovers, and it will be near impossible to take a W.
Yeah, you're seeing some of the highlights here from game number 1. There was moments where you thought iHoop was going to get back in it. I mean, he had several chances to knock down some threes, make it a single-digit game. You saw here, I mean, right now, you're looking at it, it's a 3-point game here in the second quarter. That right there cut it down, but it was really, at this point, about 3.5 to go, that Z-Foy just kind of took over the half.
Look, I take it back. How good is this from the production team? We've got the steals in there. We've got the turnovers. They have indeed made the highlights. Have another one. And off those turnovers, so many points capitalized on time and time again. It was the key to the victory. It will remain the key to victory in game 2. I dare say, though, for iHoop, there's positives there. You've scored 80 or so points. You're looking good offensively. You've taken your threes. Now just hold on to that ball, please.
And, we didn't see this in game 1. iHoop actually now taking some time, setting things up. I didn't know if he thought, hey, both these guys are undefeated coming in, that they're just going to keep cakewalking through this tournament. No, it's the grand finals. There's a PlayStation 5 on the line and a whole bunch of goodies. It's now time to play your best defense. Take your time, set things up. I mean, don't feel like, hey, you're on stream. We got to keep it going. This is all about you when you're iHoop and you're down to just your final game. As we move into game 2, this will be elimination. But you saw midway through that second quarter, all but one of his players, Devin Booker, was on a cold streak, and that's not good. When you're on a cold ring and you got 4 players on a cold ring, Nate, that tells me things are about to get really, really bad.
I don't care what level you're playing at. If someone's got what we like to call Christmas takeover, these get frosty. It is very hard to hit shots. It's very hard to get them out of it. And it's only going to, I guess, exacerbate your problems, make things a lot worse. A good start will lead to a good finish. And here, as you say, in facing elimination, iHoop needs to get off firing.
Well, here we go. Let's tip it off. We get to see a little bit of the Suns court. I'm liking that change already. We had complete Bucks home court advantage. We never got into that third game to see the Phoenix court, and they're doing a little flip-flop here, and The Bucks will take an opening timeout, and this is where they'll set everything up. And I had my questions about PJ Tucker being in the starting five. It actually proved to be brilliant there in that first game, Nate.
Wonderful to see the depth and the variation. Interesting how different things could be in this tournament, of course, with it being real life rosters. If that Rockets trade doesn't go down, what does that mean for this contest right now? But yes, PJ, an 83-point shot, a 3-point shot rather. He is hot in that left corner. It is going to be something you need to look out for in defense.
Well, 2-0 as we started off. I mentioned game number 2. First one going to Z Foy, the man from New Jersey. Ken the Canadian. I hoop from parts unknown. Be able to figure out this Bucks enigma known as Giannis. And that's a good foul. That was close to clear path.
Not often given in 2K21, the clear path foul. We saw it in Europe, and I don't mind it here. Foul that man before he can get inside.
A lot of people rooting for iHoop in the chat. See if their energy can will him to a victory here, and we get a foul on Portis. That'll be his first. See the adjustments that have been made from game 1. Booker getting into the paint. Kicks it out to the corner, and there's a 3. You know, I think because Z Foy had so big of a lead, Nate, that we didn't really talk about the poor perimeter defense that he played in game 1.
Yeah, I think I chose to go with the positive outlook on that for iHoop. That's what you're looking for here in game 2. You will have men free. You were good at hitting your shots. We know what needs to be improved upon.
The turnovers have been the problem, and you hope that are not carrying over to this game number 2 for iHoop. And he's letting Booker handle the ball a bit more, trying to take advantage of that help defense setting. It's a lot of the meta is you have it to where the defense collapse when you're in the paint, so you're seeing him use Booker to get deep into the paint and then kick it out for 3.
It's also a thing I've noticed with younger competitors. They hate conceding any points. Maybe as you get older, you realize conceding a 2 now and again isn't the worst thing ever. These kids, man, any points they concede, not good enough. I'm going to change my defense to stop you every time.
A much better start, 6-6 here early. Hoop looking for the lead here. He's kind of slowed this thing down, but another turnover. Holiday picks the pocket. Giannis, tough shot, but got it to go. Somebody asked in the chat, are these professional gamers? Well, they might be, but anybody can sign up at compete.playstation.com. Bunch of games out there, and a big 3 coming in for Chris Paul. Whether you like Tekken, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, FIFA, it's a good place to sign up and compete. Especially when there's a PlayStation 5 and a whole bunch of other goodies on the line. 1-point game, and Z Foy regains the lead. For some reason, iHoop just continues to turn the ball over. You mentioned it before, close to 20 more extra shots that Z Foy had in that first game.
You're simply not giving yourself a chance to win the game. And maybe this is more a timeout for that mental refresh than anything else. We might see some tactical changes, but I'm sure even at his young age, iHoop must realize that it is a killer to turn the ball over so frequently and not even under much pressure. Sure, if it's a man-on-man defense and your player is no longer able to dribble, you need to pass out to someone, but these are basic early entries that can be stopped if you're good enough to realize it.
Yeah, he's having a tough time dissecting that 2-3 defense. That 2-3 zone. You got to attack it. Yeah, just like that. Kick it out for the 3. Got the cold ring. Can he make it? And he does. That's how you have to attack the zone. Use the 3 Ds. Draw, drive, and dish. I go back to it. I just let Giannis score as much as he wants in the paint. And I come back down here and try to hit as many threes as I can. That's blocked. Outside Chris Paul. And he turns it over again. 5th turnover already of the ball game. And that's the difference. Oh, my goodness. Don't let this happen again. It's going to be Bucks basketball after the turnover.
I think we're seeing as well that gold heart crusher playing an impact from Giannis. Not only is he so good offensively, he is making an impact offensively. You see him worm inside there to get a hand, get that ball back again. And it's extra possessions, extra shots for Zamir.
Shot on the baseline. Takeover for Giannis is usually trouble. Puts the lead to 8. He takes it away from Chris Paul, who's stuck on a cold ring. I'm telling you, when you call timeout, I take all 5 of these guys out. They're sitting on a cold ring. I get them all out of there. It's only gonna make it worse, Nate.
Isn't it? If you look, get them back by making shots and then you miss more shots. You're quite right. Sometimes the best thing, just cut your losses and start again next quarter.
Oh boy, he turns it over again. 8th turnover of the first quarter. And it's certainly looking like this is Z-Foy's game once again to take home. We're smelling sweeps here on a Saturday. 22-12. 10-point lead. And you can talk about Giannis and all that, but, I mean, it just comes down to the turnovers. Chris Paul off the cold ring. That should help. Booker from the outside. Got it. Hoop can shoot the basketball. I mean, he might be a better shooter than Z-Foy. It's just he hasn't got enough shots off.
I would love to see him try and challenge Giannis in these areas as well. And there's the 3-second call. It is getting to a stage, dare I say, of rent-free inside his head to the point where he doesn't even realize he's just hanging out there all alone in the paint. Start challenging Giannis a little bit higher. If he does get inside, then call another defender to challenge. But you can't keep doing the same thing when it's not working.
Yeah, we've seen 0 play calling out of iHoop. And, you know, when you're facing a zone, you got to make the zone move. You got to make the zone react. And he's just coming down here running a base set every time. Here's 8. Does have a mixed match with Portis. Nearly another turnover. And he does give the ball away once again. This one's starting to get a little bit out of hand. 12-point game. And once again, the second quarter has been the difference. And PJ Tucker goes up and under. How about that? (29-15) now. 3.5 minutes ago, Scott Cole along with Nate Patrick. He's in Australia. I'm coming to you from the US of A. And it is the American Z-Foy from the East Coast, from New Jersey, who is putting on a show right now. And these cold rings aren't good. Takeover's good, cold rings bad. And Bridges can't hit the shot. Good rebound by Ayton as he cleans up the mess.
I like seeing those deeper threes finally being taken short. It's best if your man's right on the perimeter, but at this level, with the cattle that you've got, they can hit them. If you back yourself to time the shot, that one doesn't go down. But we saw in game 1, 3-point shooting was not a problem. Why not start pulling the trigger a little early? Maybe you even get the rebound. One thing is for certain, it'll stop some of those turnovers, if nothing else.
Well, the problem is he's got Crowder, Bridges still on a cold ring, CP3 still feeling frosty. And it makes it tough. I mean, it's such an attribute deduction. And that's a shot clock violation. That'll count as a turnover. Giannis now. And tough shot, but got it to go. Lead 16. And I don't think Giannis has been the problem.
Not at all.
It's the turnover.
That's really
bug.
good defending. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Giannis scores that. You say there's nothing more I could have done. You take those turnovers offensively, and then to the defensive end, you are giving up way too many easy looks. There's a much more difficult one, well forced. But again, offensively, take that. He does, and he hits. Some catch and shoots, if you please.
Well, he cuts it to 13. That's 6 points now for Booker. He hadn't scored since the first minute of the game. He took the first shot of the game. And Giannis just having a field day. "26 points for Giannis. Long rebound. Booker able to sky for it. Bridges turns it over, though. And the and one on the other end. They get Ayton, and Drew Holiday will head to the line for the old-fashioned three-point play.
Look, I was raised to look at the positives in life, and we want to reflect and really credit this defending from Zamir. He is so aggressive. He is reading these passes. He is the one getting the steals and forcing these turnovers. And it's a big reason why he's staring down this championship and indeed a PlayStation 5.
Yeah, four corners just doesn't work against a 2-3. And although iHoop came into this undefeated, had won 8 in a row today, he's run into a buzzsaw known as Z-Foy. We thought we might have an All-American final, but it was iHoop beating TD. Forced this North American Grand Final between USA and Canada. And the lead is now 20 as we're approaching the end of the first half. Christopher Paul. Clock running down. Pass to the corner. Bridges got it. I mean, you're probably not going to see these halftime stats because they click through so fast, but it was just the fact of turning the ball over and not getting enough shots up. Third quarter action coming your way. 5-minute quarters. And this best of three, Z-Foy, 10 minutes away from locking down a PlayStation 5.
The big question is, and again, we're well aware Giannis doesn't always have to finish. He does often, but the pass out is there as your next option. I've been looking through before we were here at some of the key matchups and maybe something different if Giannis does start to quite literally take over. And I think the lack of clamps, there's no clamps badges on these Suns defenders, meaning Giannis is just driving in rent-free, as easy as you like. I wouldn't mind seeing something different. A smaller defender, even Craig, has some clamps on him. Obviously, he's going to get done inside, but if you can stop that drive early, that could be a look early for iHoop before this thing really gets out of control.
Yeah, it's 21 is the separation right now. I would argue that it is. If you got young people watching, you might want to turn away from the screen. This might get ugly in the second half. And you can see, look at that overload. I mean, you got 4 players defending on, and there you go. Take it to the rack. He's had pretty much the drive has been open all game. I know he's trying to look for the 3, and now you have to take the 3. But I don't believe he had to really rely on the 3-pointer so early in the contest. You can break it down as many ways as you want, Nate, but it all comes down to turnovers.
You're quite right, and the Twitch chat is well and truly on your side. in that one. Now, obviously, 2 pointers, it's just too little, too late. But earlier on in the contest, the what ifs, the hindsight, if you took a few more of them, would this thing be a bit closer? At the moment, he's being resorting to just terrible, terrible looks. And it is desperate times. It is end of days. It is all over.
Z-Foy, or known as Zed-Foy, over there in Nate's land. He is going to be your American champion, and I'm going to tell you, 2 games, 2 very dominant performances from the champion Z-Foy.
And look, we want to reflect, as we said earlier, on the positives. Twitch chat, you're not quite on the money in terms of the quality. These competitors have done so well to get to this stage. It has been a long graft, a long battle. At the end of the day, you just have to credit Zamir. He was magnificent, not just defensively, but spamming the steals, reading the passing lanes, and then most importantly, perhaps, capitalizing with points from those turnovers. How often did he get a fast break, maybe even a 2-on-1? Here's an example. Giannis steal, the presence of mind to step inside. He doesn't just go back up inside. He took the high percentage options, and he did it time and time again.
Well, this is where you got to know the game mechanics, right? Once your player, especially Chris Paul, once he gets on a cold ring, he cannot bring the ball up anymore. You cannot allow Holiday, you cannot allow Giannis to bump steal you. It'll happen all game long. He was all in the passing lanes, and just, as I mentioned before, a dominant performance here by Z-Foy. He is going to be your North American champion. He is going to take home the PlayStation 5, a whole bunch of store credit. He's going to get that brand new system and load it up with all of the latest amazing games on PlayStation. Here's our broadcast schedule. Coming up, we got Call of Duty, Soul Calibur, Tekken 7, Mortal Kombat, Guilty Gear. You can go out and sign up for these contests out on compete.playstation.com. All good games. And I cannot wait for our next broadcast. It'll actually be on July 28th. On that morning. Nate, what's your final thoughts? We saw both sweeps on both in Europe and here in North America.
You have to say congratulations to Step. We just smashed it out of the park. I'm not going to lie, and we were talking, everyone does, as a commentator, as a neutral, wherever you're watching from around the world. You want to see close contests. You want to see high quality NBA 2K. While we didn't get the former, we certainly got the latter. If we thought we were going to see Giannis take over, we got a bit of that, but the three-point shooting, the defending, the reading of the passing lanes, the capitalization on the turnovers, it was a pleasure to watch, a pleasure to bring you the action.
Well, great job indeed, Nate. Want to thank our broadcast team out there for making us look good and sound good. Once again, congratulations to Steph Curry for winning the European Grand Finals. On the other side, you had the amazing play of Z-Foy. You can sign up right now. You saw those games that are coming up. Compete.playstation.com. We hope to see you coming up on the next broadcast. Of course, we want to thank our fine friends out there at PlayStation. For Nate Patrick, I've been Sky Cole. We will see you next time. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday.
Bye.